LeBron has been no secret. One of the things that, one of his goals, obviously, was to play in the NBA and do all the things that he's been able to do, but it's to own an NBA franchise, Skip, and I think that would be huge. One guy, Michael Jordan, did that. He owns the Charlotte Hornets. And so, look, LeBron has made that. That's no secret. And they're talking about expanding. Las Vegas and Seattle are the two cities that they're talking about expanding to. And LeBron is basically, hey, Adam, don't forget your boy. And obviously, he would have to partner with someone because it seems to be these franchises have skyrocketed in price. Before Steve Ballmer purchased the Clippers, Skip, the most somebody ever paid, I think, was for the Sacramento Kings, I think $550 million. And then he drops $2.5 billion, $2.2 billion on the table, and now every franchise since it's been $2+ billion. And so that's where it's headed. It's going to be some excess of $2 billion. So he's probably going to have to be a minority owner to start, kind of like Jordan did with the Hornets, and then he bought the entire, bought the rest up from Bob Johnson. And so that's where he's headed. But yeah, I can see it happen because remember, Michael Jordan used to own, was a small minority owner in the Washington Wizards. He had to divest that when he became a player with the Wizards. True. So LeBron obviously could not own. So the question is, Skip, let's just say for the sake of argument, we're having this discussion. In the next 3 years, they come up and says, okay, we're about to expand. We're offering expansion in Vegas and Seattle. LeBron is still playing. Does that mean he's willing to give and say, I'm done playing, to become an owner? Or does he like, nah, I want to continue to play? I believe he would be willing to give up playing and become an owner of an NBA franchise.
I would agree.
And so, Skip, I think it would be great. Skip, you remember the time you and I both older. They'll never put a sports franchise in Vegas.
Well, it's about gambling.
Yeah, they got football, they got hockey, they got women, they got WNBA. Now they're about to put an NBA team. What the money? The NBA, this is what we know. Sport franchises will go where the money is. And if they got enough of it, they put a franchise in hell, too, if it's for enough money. Somebody got $10 billion, they go down there and put one up. But anyway, Skip, yes, I believe he's going to be an owner. He's a minority owner in the Red Sox and Liverpool. It's going to happen. It's inevitable.
By the way, it wasn't that long ago that newspapers, when there were actual newspapers in this country, they refused to run the point spreads because they did not want to be associated with gambling, right?
Yep.
Now, all of a sudden, the leagues have said, after they said, no, we stay away from this, they're all embracing the gambling
Everybody
industry.
talks about the point spread when they're talking about the games.
Because it's what everybody's doing.
That's what I care about.
All right, there you go. So the first thing that grabs my attention is LeBron is campaigning for Vegas. And if I didn't know better, I think, does he just want a team in Vegas so that he has an excuse to live half the year in Vegas just because he loves Vegas? Maybe. I mean, Skip, Vegas to L.A., Vegas to L.A. is better than L.A. to Seattle. You got that right. The other thing that surprises me is LeBron is so powerful. He's obviously the most powerful player in the NBA. He's the face of the NBA. He's so connected. I'm sure he's got open lines of communication to Adam Silver, maybe on almost a daily or at least weekly basis.
Yeah.
That it surprises me that he feels compelled to have to campaign publicly instead of just campaigning privately.
We're doing that also.
Okay, well, does he need to put public pressure on Adam Silver? I don't know, because it would seem like that would be the wrong thing to do, because that's the one guy you don't want to publicly goad about, give me a franchise in Las Vegas, right?
Skip, you know how these things work. They go into the highest bidder. And unfortunately, Skip, I know they would love for LeBron to be an owner, but at the end of the day, those other 29 owners, with 30 owners, it would be 31, 32 teams if they expand to 2 teams. They're like, we're going to the highest bidder. That's where that's going. We're going to the highest bidder.
First of all, I think Seattle has a leg up on Vegas just because the NBA still feels shame that they had a team and it was taken from them, and it wound up in my city. To my shock, the Thunder became.
I agree with you. I do believe Seattle has a leg up.
Okay, all right. Would I love to see LeBron own a basketball team, an NBA team? Sure, I would. I think he'd be I think he'd be a great owner.
Yes.
It also raises the question, would he then insist upon being the GM the way Jordan has insisted to his detriment on being the GM? I can't say this for a fact, but the history would tell you LeBron wouldn't be a great GM. It's just hard. You have to be completely removed. The greater the player, the harder it is to know who can play, because none of them are going to be as good as you were.
Right.
None.
Yeah.
Zero.
Yeah.
You're just, the odds are, if he owns the team in Vegas for 20 years, that for 20 years there'll never be a player as good or better than LeBron James. Okay, so that's his problem. He looks around like, why can't they do what?
Nah, bro,
they're not.
yeah, right, exactly,
Okay? All right.
exactly.
So that's the problem. But I don't know that. I would think his inclination would be he would want to be involved in the basketball operation.
Well,
is that fair?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably
okay.
so.
All right, and that could be to his detriment. The final piece of the puzzle is LeBron is a billionaire. He is north of a bill.
Right.
It's not a milli, it's a billy.
Right.
But you got to go find some deeper pockets than yours, because the Nets 3 years ago went for 2.35. I think you just said that.
Yes, yes,
2.35 billion?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Well,
And they talk about what the Suns are going to go north of $2 billion.
For sure.
So.
Okay. So can you go find? I'm sure.
Oh, yeah,
he's
because Skip, he's with the guys that the Red Sox and Liverpool, so he has, and they've invested in some other things, and so he has the right group, investment group, to go out and to raise the money to order to get a franchise.
Because not knowing his finances, but I don't think LeBron is in position to become the majority owner of this, right?
No.
So he would have to give up the majority ownership to others, right? Mm-hmm. So he would be an owner, he just wouldn't be the owner.
Maybe, like I said, be a situation like Jordan. Jordan was a minority owner, and then when the owner sold, Bob Johnson, he bought the lion's share. I think Jordan's, 60-70% now of the ownership group. So that's maybe what LeBron can position himself to do. That's what he's wanted, Skip. That's what he's always wanted to do. He's like, 10 years ago, he was talking about ownership. And here we are. And it looked like it might come to fruition. I hope so.
But when you talk about Michael Jordan, we hark back to the great Spike Lee as Mars Blackman in the commercials, the Nike commercials.
Yeah.
It's got to be the shoes. Well, with Jordan, it's got to be the shoes, because that's the only way he was able to buy the franchise out from under Bob Johnson, the Bobcats as they used to be known, right? Mm-hmm. Was the shoes. Well, LeBron doesn't have that kind of money.
Well, I think the thing is, Skip, he's going to have revenue. I mean, he signed the $1 billion deal with Nike, so he's going to have probably, 40, 50 million per year coming in for that. He's going to be able to align himself with other people and with his investments. His Spring Hill company, they're doing a lot of TV shows. They're doing movies.
Yeah,
so, Skip, his income is going to continue. Now, how soon can he be in line to like, okay, I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to take over, 60%, 70% of the ownership group? I don't know. But I just know that he'll be in line to be a minority owner, probably take, $500-600 million. I'm sure he can, give him a line of credit for that. Yeah. Unless you these Walmarts that got 60 billion, or you Steve Ballmer that got $80 billion, Skip, that you can like, okay, I'm good. I'll cut you a check. How much you say? Oh, my guy got the check in his briefcase right now. He cut you a check right now. There are very few people, Skip, that can cut those kinds of checks.
Very few. I believe you made the best point and asked the best question right out of the box. How soon would LeBron be willing to give up playing to undertake owning in the NBA? And I got to tell you, the way he looked last night, I'm not sure that's any time soon that he wants to stop playing, because he looked Brady-esque last night. I know the sports are very different, but Tom's going at 45, and I don't know. I'm not sure, but what he's going to play until he's 50.
Man.
But this guy is 37, going on 38 on December 30th. But could he play 3 more? Sure he could.
What about this, Skip? Okay, we were about to give a franchise. Vegas, you're on the clock, 23-24. Bronny coming to the NBA. Now, they're going to change the rules. That's probably not going to happen until before the new CBA takes place. So what? Okay, the ownership group in Vegas or playing with Bronny?
It's a hard call.
I
think he would. As much as he's campaigning to be an owner.
He played with Bronny.
But he might have to wait until the next team comes up, and it might not be a Vegas-based team. Right?
I agree with you. I think it's going to be Seattle, because, like you said, Seattle, they've had a team before. It seems to me they're clamoring for a team. They just got the Kraken. They just got a hockey team up there. Yeah. They got, the Mariners are up there. So I think it's only Seahawks, obviously. I think it's going to be Seattle. I think it'll be Seattle and then Vegas. I think Vegas is at least 5 years away.
Yeah, it's funny. Right now, they're almost campaigning against each other because they're playing preseason games in Seattle, and now tonight another preseason game based in Vegas.
I loved the Sonics back in the day, guys.
Yep.
It would be phenomenal to see Seattle get another team. Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Subscribe here to get the very latest from Skip and Shannon. Plus, go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.